I think we can all agree if there's one thing this series has taught us, just one little thing, it's not to overreact. Just don't overreact. With that being said, Luka Doncic, greatest player of all time, number 77, out of Slovenia, dropped 42 points, 14 assists, and won the game, and now the Mavericks are up 3-1. But obviously, I'm joking a little bit. Don't overreact because, as we saw, Mavericks took a 2-0 lead. The series was over. Clippers fight back 2-2. The series was over. The Clippers are winning in 6, and all of a sudden, the Mavericks are up 3-2. Are Dallas in a good position right now? Yes, obviously, there's a stat that keeps going around literally every time a team plays in a 2-2 series, which was just the case today, an 82% chance or whatever, an 82% success rate of teams that have taken a 3-2 lead. I don't really read into that stuff too much because often if you take a lead in a series, you're the better team. So often if you're the better team, you're going to win. Now with these two teams, I think they're very evenly matched. I think it really depends on the night. And tonight we saw Luka take 37 shots and ended up with 42 points, 14 assists. And it was a huge performance. I saw some people saying he choked in the last quarter. Did he have a good last quarter? No, it wasn't a good last quarter, but I wouldn't exactly say he choked when you consider 4 of his last shots rolled in and out, which I know at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, but I thought that was just unbelievable that he had 4 shots roll in and out. I don't remember seeing that many shots roll in and out in a last quarter, like, ever. I don't remember seeing that. That was absurd. There was like 4 different locations of the shots, and all of them rolled in and out. I didn't really believe what I was seeing. So you factor that in. He also made some nice passes out of double teams. He found open shooters. And in the end, underwhelming last quarter. Yes. Did he choke? I don't really buy into that stuff. I feel like sometimes you have a bad last quarter, sometimes you don't. If you've got a history of having bad last quarters, well then, yeah, I guess we could label you a underperformer in those quarters, a choker, but I'm not labeling him that based off one quarter in which a lot of shots were close to going in and he made right decisions. He just didn't have it all fall. On the other end, I'll say the same thing about Kawhi because a lot of people are going to say, oh, Kawhi, the fraud, he choked. No. He had a bad game. He didn't have his best game. At the end, very strange shot where he chucked up an air ball. He never really looked in rhythm there. That's not really his spot, is it? I don't believe. He likes those kind of straight on threes or getting his rhythm dribble into those threes. He kind of just got there and he was kind of trapped in there. Chucked it up, airball. So I guess he's a fraud for that, but no, we've seen what Kawhi can do, and we've seen what these two teams can do. They can go back and forth. The Clippers could easily go into Dallas and win that game. Now, I'm sure a lot of people watching this video are Mavericks fans, so I'm not saying that's going to happen, but they could do that. Also, let me just quickly say, before I get even further into this video, if you could drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel, my voice just died, that would be much appreciated. Liking the video just helps out a ton. Also subscribing, make content like this every single day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes, I don't know how many times a day, I just make content like this free. It helps out a lot. That would be much appreciated. But as I was saying, the series is not over. Let's not overreact. Yes, Luka had an unbelievable game, and this is what Dallas are going to need to do. They're going to need Luka to drop 40. They're going to need Hardaway Jr., who, as I said, X factor. Sure, he only shot 30%. Not unbelievable, but he ended up with 20 points. I've said he needs to get to 20 to 25 points for them to win those games. Again, you would like it to be better than 6 of 19, 3 of 10 from 3, but he made that clutch shot, which is what you need, because at the end, yes, people can say Luka choked, he missed a few shots, and again, not trying to defend him, I'm just saying his last quarter wasn't awful, he just missed a few shots, but you also need someone to take the ball out of his hands because they were double teaming, because they were trapping him, because he was finding open shooters and they weren't hitting those shots. Hardaway Jr. said, let me step up. Let Porzingis step up. Give him some credit. Porzingis has been ridiculed all series long. Some of that is deserved for sure because he's getting paid $30 million a year to basically stand in a corner and to be a liability on defense, but he hit a big shot. He hit a big shot. What can you say? He hit a big shot. Sure, he might not post up as well as most people would hope for a 7'3" guy, but he hit a big corner 3. That wins them the game in the end. That big corner 3 by Kristaps wins them the game. So give him some credit, because if you're going to slander him, which again, some of it is warranted, he's getting paid $30 million a year to stand in a corner on offense and not really defend on the other end of the floor, but he hits a big shot and you'll pay $30 million a year for him to hit a few clutch shots. Maybe not, but you'll take it. Just in general, the Mavericks offensively, like it was Luka. He took half of their shots, just about nearly half of their shots. He created pretty much all of their offense with 14 assists, 42 points for 105 points they ended up with. So Luka was involved in about 80, 75 of those points, just looking at it off the top of my head right there. Something ridiculous. Not really surprising, but still absolutely absurd. And he played a fantastic game. Fourth quarter wasn't ideal, but the first quarter was what got them in the game, because this was a team that had come off back-to-back tough losses. Last game, they looked like they were outmatched. It looked like the Mavericks were struggling. Luka was injured, and then all of a sudden, the Clippers had found the right rotations. They bring in Bobby, who brought a bit of an impact. Shout out to Bobby as well. And Carlisle, 20 minutes, 9.7 rebounds. Just a different look, finding different ways to try and switch up this game. In the end as well, another guy who had a big impact was Dwight Powell. I thought he had a really solid game, crashing the boards, ended up with 3 offensive rebounds, got one clutch at the end, I think that led to the Hardaway Jr. 3, if I'm correct, but in general, he was getting in those right spots off those traps, which is what I like to see. When Luka was getting trapped, Dwight Powell was there, and he made a few right reads, either kicking it out or getting a layup. So I liked what I saw from Powell, and I think getting him some more minutes is definitely a solution to the trapping, like we saw earlier in the season, well, actually late in the season, before the playoffs. Something the Mavericks were doing when Luka was getting double teams and trapped was playing Dwight Powell and putting him right in that middle of the floor, and then Luka passing it to him. He's quite athletic, he's quite nimble, so he can get to the rim and lay it in or pass it out to a shooter. So I liked that solution as well. I liked what I saw from Powell. In general, Mavericks, they played a solid game. Defensively, you had the likes of Dorian Finney-Smith stepped up. All of these guys were locked in defensively, and, well, they get the win. On the other side of the floor, you look at the Clippers, and, well, Kawhi Leonard's going to get a lot of the stick. Again, superstar player. He can handle it. If he has a poor game, they're going to lose. That's the reality. Kawhi is their best player, so when Kawhi doesn't play well, they lose. And, well, he didn't play well, because you look at the plus minuses. Again, I don't always read into the plus minuses, but PG and Kawhi obviously have little different rotations, because you want PG playing with a certain group of players and you want Kawhi playing with a certain group of players. And to see George at a plus 17 and Kawhi at a minus 8 and everyone else pretty much negative, PG at a plus 17 kind of goes to show that when he wasn't on the floor, when he wasn't creating for himself and for others, which he did a good job of doing, they struggled. They struggled a lot. Their offense was stagnant. I still think their defense has improved a lot over the last couple of games. A lot of that has to do with Zubac now being off the floor, although he had to play more minutes because Bobby was there and they had Dwight Powell and they had guys throwing different looks at them, which forced Zubac to play minutes. But in general, the rotations that the Clippers are making are better. They're playing better defense now, and although Luka ends up with 42, is there much you can do in a lot of those shots? I mean, he hit like 5 threes in the first quarter, all tough shots, all difficult makes. He hits tough shots, like that's his repertoire. That's his go-to thing, just to hit tough shots and make tough decisions. Like, you can't do too much about that. You can only hope to defend everything else. And in general, defensively, the Clippers did a good job at defending everything else. I mean, they were rotating. They were quick out to shooters most of the time. They stopped most of the ball movement when it wasn't involving Luka. They trapped him at the end. They made the right decisions. As I said, he had a tough last quarter. The Mavericks only scored 16 in the last quarter. The Clippers outscored them 25-16 in the last quarter. So in the end, they played the right game in the last quarter. And for most of the game, they were good defensively. But Luka's brilliance was simply the reason that they won. That's what it comes down to. Luka was brilliant and the other Clippers stars were solid. George was solid. Kawhi was underwhelming. But I mean, you give him a little bit of a break because he had like 2 unbelievable games. He's had an unbelievable series. This is his first real bad game. I guess people aren't going to give him a break. If you want to hate on them, that's fine. I'm not really here to do that. I'm here to say, objectively, Kawhi had an underwhelming game. The Clippers did well defensively. I think they're still a threat to win this series. I know Mavericks fans are watching this video, but I'm saying they're still a threat to win this series. We've seen them win 2 in a row. We've seen the Mavericks win 2 in a row. It's going to need another special effort from Luka unless Hardaway Jr. or someone else can step up and replace some of that production that Luka is just putting all on his back. All on his back. And when I say all on his back, I say he created about 4 wide open shots in the last quarter and all of them were missed, which led to him taking so many tough shots, which is why he missed a few of those shots in the last quarter. That's why I would say his last quarter wasn't terrible. In general, an exciting game. Luka just doing Luka things. They don't have an answer for him. No one has an answer for him. I mean, I think I saw a stat. 4 40-point games in his first 10 games of the playoffs, 3 games under 25 points. Does that say it all? So he's had more 40-point games than games under 25 points in his first 10 playoff games. Well, this guy's a freak. He's a freak. So that's what it is. And freaks sometimes prevail. That's a weird thing to say, but you get the point. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the game. The Clippers aren't going to roll over. If we've seen anything compared to last year in which the Clippers rolled over 3 consecutive times, they're not rolling over. Game 3, they were down by 30. They came back and won that game 20 or whatever it was. This game, they were down by like 16 in the last quarter. They came back and tied it or whatever. They came really close to tying it, came really close to winning it. Also, Terrence Mann, lay that up. Lay that up at the end. You had a layup and you passed it to Batum. I probably should have started with that because most people would start with that. But Terrence Mann, lay that up. I'm a really big fan of Mann. He's a really solid player, but lay it up. Lay it up. That's all I've got to say. Series is still well and truly alive. Luka Magic. Top 5 player in the league, top 3 player in the league, top 1 player in the league. I don't know. You let me know below and have a good day as well. Bye.